Good morning, Dr. Childress, and Happy New Year. I have a question that should be very simple, but it's not. And it involves everybody who follows you, everybody who's involved in this, because you get a lot of phone calls, I get a ton of phone calls. And the main thing is, how do we stop this? How do we bring it to a conclusion? Because you and I both know there is a ton of money in this. Whether it's a forensic psychologist, whether it's lawyers, whether it's gifts from the federal government. And here's my issue, my big issue. When you go to Division of Child Services, who are supposed to protect children, and you file or try and file a psychological abuse causing emotional abuse issue, and they ignore you, what do you do with that? Because I have gone to them, their hierarchy, their people, and have basically implored, this is child abuse, you guys need to do something. And they're like, give us physical, give us sexual, we're all on it, but don't give us psychological or emotional distress or emotional issues. And even when we put your diagnostic checklist, even when we go to the sheriff's department and try and file charges there, and they refuse to write a report because they're protecting that judge, they're protecting that other parent, they're protecting those lawyers. Because most of us already know that the trial has already been decided even before you stepped in there, before you walked in. That's why the judges do a couple things to harm people, harm kids, by like saying, I'm going to make a decision over the weekend, over a couple days, so I can make this more fair. And they're not. They're actually seeing where the best way they can make the most money for a lot of the time in family court. So, this is a multi-level question. When you bring up constitutional charges against a judge because they refuse to obey the Constitution and abide by it, and then you bring complaints or charges against them in judicial standards commissions and stuff like that, and they have it right in their face and ignore it. When you are dealing with a fundamentally corrupt system, how do you change that? When you bring it to, and you bring the evidence to the media, and they refuse to cover it, refuse to cover the fact that there's children being abused, refuse to cover the fact that it's by judges, refuse to cover the fact that the charges you tried to file with the sheriff's department, police departments, they won't write. So this is kind of out of your realm. But I wanted to ask you, how do we stop this? Because I'm really getting tired of people committing suicide all the time. I'm really getting tired of children being abused all the time. I'm really getting tired of our Constitution being torn up all the time. So, I hope this is a direct question. I wait for your response. Hopefully you haven't blocked me. But it's time for hot yoga. And so with that question, I just served the ball in your court. I eagerly await your response. Thank you, Dr. Childress, and thank you for your time.